All right, on the bench today, out of a 2001 Honda Accord, 4-cylinder with a 2.3, we have the 4-speed front-wheel drive Honda transmission that is designated as a BAXA. So we're going to tear this down and see what we find. The problem that I felt while driving this, we got it from a wholesaler. He says, I'll pick up the car, the transmission is slipping, the guy wants a rebuild put in. I said, okay, no problem. When we got it here, I felt a 2-3 flare every time I drove it. So we'll see if maybe we find some worn out clutches and the timing is wrong for the 2-3 shift. That's why you have a flare, but not really sure what we're gonna find, but we're gonna tear it down and see if we can see something. The common thing, of course, is worn frictions. Screen was not clogged on this. Less than 100,000 miles. I couldn't find the paperwork, so that's why I don't have it in front of me. Oh, also, I did scan it, no codes were present. So, we're gonna tear this down tomorrow morning, but what we'll do is, let me just get up close now, and we'll just kind of point out the solenoids and the speed sensors, and then tomorrow morning we just go ahead and tear this down and see what we find. So, let me get a little closer, we'll do that, and then we'll pick it up tomorrow morning. All right, these are your linear solenoids or pressure control solenoids A and B, and these basically control the apply and release of the clutch packs. They work with the clutch pressure control, the CPC valves inside the transmission, clutch pressure control valves. Those are the ones that I put the O-ring end plug in, because you really don't want those leaking. They got a very light spring behind them, and those valves got to be free for this transmission to work correctly. Okay, the two on the bar here are your lockup solenoids. These are your shift solenoids. All right, here is your pressure switch for third clutch, pressure switch for second clutch. You see that's, they go by PSI opening, but I just kind of go by colors. Sometimes the colors are updated, so I may say to him, I have one green and one black, and then my rep would say, okay, the green's replaced by a white, and the black is replaced by a gray, but you go by the VIN number, you really can't go wrong. You always get the right one. So those are the pressure switches, and they're usually always on the outside. So if you have a code for a pressure switch, basically what you do, I do have a video on Honda pressure switches, but it's a one-wire connector. You turn the key on, you check to make sure you have either 5 or 12 volts at the connector. If you do, change the switch. Simple as that. This one is not so easy to get to, the second gear. All right, now we have a couple of speed sensors. This is your NC speed sensor, that's over the counter shaft, and this is your NT, or maybe they would call that turbine speed, because that is reading the main shaft that is always spinning, that goes inside the converter. MLP switch here, or rain sensor, we'll take this cover off, will be the rain switch behind that. Here is your little dipstick, and you fill the transmission here. And don't forget, with Hondas, level ground, engine off, you check the fluid level. All right, cooler lines, we'll get rid of those. So that's really about it on the outside. So what we'll do tomorrow morning is we're going to take everything on the outside off first, and then we'll take the cover off. We'll have the idler gears behind there, so I'll need the puller. We'll get the puller, we'll take them off, get all the bolts around the case and get the case half up, and take the shafts out. All right, so it's a typical 4-speed Honda transmission. I do have my parts coming, which is a banner kit. There's a couple of pistons in this one. Filtran filters, basically like an OE filter. Also, the bottom steels tend to make lines in them or grooves in them. I like to change the bottom steels. I mean, if any of the steels are questionable, I change them, but for sure, I change the bottom steels. I have those coming, and also an O-ring end plug kit. All right, so I think that is all for now. And what I'll do is catch up with you guys tomorrow morning. We'll go ahead and tear this transmission down. All right, back with you this morning. So again, the first thing we're gonna do is take the solenoids, everything off from the outside, and then we'll go ahead and take the end cover off. All right, so let's just get this vent Okay, here's the vent. Now we're going to get the transmission lines out of the way. And so we got a couple of 10mm bolts we got to get out. Alright. Here's the one. And the other. And there's the other. When you put this back, there is in the kit, washers come, new washer on each side. Okay. Okay. Here are the lines. Okay. All right, now we're going to take this out here for the switch. Speed sensor. All right, now we're going to get the linear solenoids off. Bolt is stuck in the socket. Right, here are the dual linear solenoids, and there's O-rings that'll be replaced. Take these little feed tubes out, and there's O-rings there. Alright, I'm going to take this screen out and clean these, and the seal also around is all one piece. That will take a lot of times. These screens here get clogged when the clutches flake off. We'll clean that. Alright, so now we got the shift solenoids. This is black plastic and brown plastic, so we just got to make sure we put these back correctly. So we're going to make a mark. Okay. Alright, so now we can lift this up. Alright, that still looks okay. Take the tube out of the switch. So this bolt on this side of the switch broke. Taking it out, but no big deal. And I was re-drilled. That's what I will do after everything is apart. Okay, here is the main switch. Okay, go ahead and get the cover off. Okay. Now let's tap this cover up. Alright, so this here came out with the cover. Parking ball. Little rod, and here is the spring. Okay, so the cover. These are the feed tubes. You want to make sure these feed tubes are nice and smooth because there's bushings that ride there. Bushings are inside the shafts. And when the bushing goes bad, it'll scratch this up and cause cross leaks. Alright, but these all look good. Okay. This out. Alright, so now I'm going to get a couple of these feed tubes out. See if I got the right size. I did. Okay, we're going to get this shield out. Okay. Alright, now let's try to clean that tab up, I should say. Get the link out. bolt has a shoulder on it, also to peen over tab. Okay, so this will come out. There is the linkage. With Hondas, it gets very confusing at first. Just look how it goes. I'm going to line this, there's a tab. I'm going to line it up when I take the cover off. Okay. All right, so next, I'm going to knock the peen away from these end nuts. Okay. Okay. So we're going to see which ones are going to come off regular, which are going to come off opposite. We're going to look for the arrow. All right, just give me 1 second here. Okay, so we just got one with the arrow, which is going to be opposite, and these two are regular. All right, now we got to use the puller, pull the bearing off, the 2 gears, and then the park gear. Okay. Maybe 14. All right, get the next one. Off the bearings, and this will go on top here. Put that together. get two bolts from the end cover. Just screw them in here. See if we can work these down and lift that up. Okay. Straight-minded. There we go. I'd like to see if I can get the idler gear out. It just makes it a lot easier when you're putting the case on. Sometimes they come out easy, you know, you got to get out of a big O-ring. Sometimes they don't. But let's try it and see what happens. Okay. All right, we got the aluminum housing off. Now I want to see if we can get the shaft out that holds the gear in place. Okay. Yeah, you got some very thick O-rings on here. Bearing. All right, so now we got to look how the gear is. All right, and I see a mark on the inside of the gear. Because you've got to make sure you put this back correctly. If you don't, it's going to hit the other gears in there and make noise when this car is running apart. All right, so I'm looking to see how it is now. The other side, and I'll show you the mark once I get the case apart. The other side is not going to have this particular mark on the gear. So you got to make sure you put it back correctly. All right, now we're going to take the bolts out and split the case halves. You just get ready for that. Okay. Now we gotta see if we can split this thing. Probably held on a dowel back now. No, my fault. I missed one. Let's try this again. Okay. All right, so I have this idler gear still in the housing here. Okay. Now, get the gear out. Okay, so this, if you could see the mark on this, that was facing up. And there's nothing on this side, on the inside, so it's going to face down. So you have to put this in the right way because the height here is different than here. So if you put it the wrong way, it's going to stick up and it's going to hit the idler, the other idler gears making a noise. All right, so you got to make sure this goes back correctly with this marking on the inside facing up. Okay. All right, so this piece here I'm going to put on the other bench. Soil. So now we got to clean this back. Take that off. Okay. Ready? So I'm going to take the gear off. This gear off. Bearing. Fork assembly slider. Okay, also the slider, you got to make sure you put the correct way. You can look at the teeth on both sides. They compare the teeth on the gears to see which way it goes in. Or you can just look at how it is. All right, this went in this way, and you can see the step is facing up. You can go by that as well. Okay. All right, now we'll get the filter out. Okay. And an O-ring here. Put the filter to the side. Okay, so now what we can do is lift out the main shaft, which is third and fourth. Secondary shaft, first and second. Got a lot of play in these clutches here. So chances are these clutches are flaked. That is causing a problem. And the counter shaft. And the final drive. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this aside for now, and I'll bring the shafts forward. We'll take a look at those, and then we'll go ahead and disassemble the valve. All right, so let me just get set up for that, and I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, let's take a look at this. This is the secondary shaft with first and second gear on it. So we got, gonna lift off. This is second on top here. Got a bearing here. And we'll get these off, and then what we'll do is just bring it down. Okay, so I've got a lot of play here. I'm sure these clutches are worn out, and that's pretty common for a second gear. Yeah, there's pretty much, these are all flaked off. There's actually nothing left on this one. These are all flaked. Smooth. Very surprised it didn't clog the screen. The screen was not clogged on this. That's second. Here is first. And also these clutches are bad. I got a banner kit anyway. Alright, and this setup, we got a molded balance piston here and here. Comes in the banner kit. Well, I ordered it with the banner kit. I think you can get, I guess there's different ways these banner kits can come, but I got the banner kit, which is the overhaul kit, all the clutches, and the two pistons. Okay, so we can do these. On the shaft that seal the drum. We got a couple of sealing rings to apply it, so we're going to take this off here. Let's get the proper snap ring pliers for that. I'm going to take this clip off. Let me just bring this camera down. Okay, split ring here. Off. This here. Okay. Alright, so here's fourth. There is all the bearings. Fourth gear. Okay, same thing. Third. Okay, let's check it out. Alright, again, butcher's all burnt. I got a banner kit. And this is what I'm talking about, how this wave sits in here and it makes a groove. So I changed the bottom steel. I'll probably find the same thing for the next clutch pack as well. Yeah, same thing. I'm going to put a new bottom steel in that. And the clutches are bad. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the valve body apart. I got to get set up for that. So give me a few minutes. I'll do that, take the valve body apart and finish it up. So it looks like our problem, I'm going to go with too much clearance in the clutch packs to cause this flare. So the timing is off. You know, the clutch, if there's too much clearance, it'll take too long to apply or release. And then the end result of that is you'll get a flare. If the clutch pack was too tight, you would get a bind on the shift. But being the fact that it's way too loose because the clutch is a shot, it's flaring on the 2-3. So I'm sure that's what we're dealing with. Now let's just take the valve body apart, take a look at that. I'll show you the part that houses the clutch pressure control valves that work in conjunction with those linear solenoids. All right, so let me just bring that forward, move this to the back, and we'll start with that. I'll be back in a few minutes. All right, so go ahead and disassemble the valve body portion of this BAXA. We got 4 different sections. All right, down on the bottom here is the main valve body. This is the regulator valve body, the servo valve body, and the accumulator valve body. All right, so we're going to take this all apart. There's a couple of accumulators here that we're going to be changing the O-rings on. So we'll take these out. Just got to find my snap ring pliers here. Get the pistons out. Okay. This is where in the servo valve body is where the clutch pressure control valves are. Now, these out. Now we'll get the bolts out of the regulator assembly. We've got to get this actuator out in order to get this section out. One more. Here we have a screen. Looks like it may be clogged. We got a screen here. Let's see if I can get this thing out. Some of these kits, they give you new screens. Some do and some don't. Let's take a look at this screen. Yeah, this thing is all clogged up and crushed. I'm going to see if I actually have another one. That's from the clutch material flaking off. Alright, so we'll take this actuator out here. Got an O-ring on it. Alright, now we got one more bolt here. Out. Right here is the reverse fork, the servo for the reverse fork. Okay, and here is the servo body. You got the two clutch pressure control valves here, and I replaced these end plugs with the O-ring end plugs. You got to make sure. I'm going to pull all the valves out, but to make sure these two are exceptionally free. These are the ones that I drop in, take the spring out, I clean everything, drop it under its own weight, and if it falls down, it kind of bounces off the back when it lands. I know it's good. If it has any hint of it sticking or not function properly, then I get a new section of the valve body. And there's a code here, it says P6H, and that's what you go by to get the section that you want of the valve body. P6H, so we will get the correct one. Alright, so we got some plates, separator plates, here and here. Alright, we're going to take the linkage out. So this we're just going to pull up on this pin. Okay. With that, I'm going to clean this. Okay, so we have a ball and spring. See if we can get these dowels out of the way. Some will come out, some won't. Okay. You know, another thing I really don't remember on this, I don't believe there's any check balls, but I'm going to run a magnet across it just to make sure. It's been a while since I did one of these, but let's get this out here. Valve and spring, one likely fork converter. And we got this relief valve here, got a spring and a check ball. Okay, so let's see. I honestly don't remember if there, I don't think there is, but there's so many different versions of Hondas. All right, no, there's not. Okay. All right, so let's get the accumulator valve body off. A couple of check balls behind this though. 1, 2. On that, there's 2 check balls. Accumulators here. Let's see if we can get the other one out. Sometimes they come out, sometimes they don't. No, that's not good. Okay, now the main valve body. I need 12 millimeter for the other 3. Now we got a screen here that is nice and clean. This one's nice and clean, so I can clean this up. But I know I have extras in these screens in here. That one I'm gonna get another one. Okay, so this will lift out. Up here. Okay. Here's the pump gear and the little gear with the groove in it. Like that, always faces down. Okay. Wait. And that's it. It's going down. And so I'm going to knock the front seal out. Axle seal. And the lever seal on the other side. You can just kind of tilt this up. Seal it. Here's my 3 seals that I'll be changing. And that looks like about it. So we were dealing with the 2-3 flare. Again, I don't believe there were codes present. But we did find the second clutch as well as the low clutch, which is first gear, pretty much flaked off. You know, with this restriction here in this little screen, that's going to cause some problems. So just a basic overhaul, banner kit, filter, the bottom seals that I use, converter. You know, we're going to flush this thing out real good. Should be fine. Get it back on the road again. All right, so it's a 2001 Honda Accord, BAXA with a 2.3 flare, 4-cylinder. And basically, worn clutches is the problem with this. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day, and we will see you next one.